Sanders likes to point out that his campaign is funded by regular Americans, that he doesn't have a super PAC, and now he can add one more thing to that list. He does not take money from morally questionable CEOs of pharmaceutical companies. He was recently approached, in fact, by Martin Shkreli, who you might have heard is the CEO of Turing Pharmaceuticals. The reason he became famous recently is that he's the guy that chose to raise the price of the toxoplasmosis treatment 4,000%, which people had a problem with, it turns out. And he became sort of the poster boy for drug prices being unnecessarily increased. Well, he wanted to talk to Bernie Sanders and explain his side of things. And so he donated the individual maximum of $2,700 to Sanders' campaign back on September 28th. And during the debate, when he heard Bernie Sanders saying that, we can't trust these people, they're trying to profit off of human suffering and those sorts of things, he said that he wanted to get in touch with him. So he wanted to set up a private meeting, perhaps a phone call, perhaps in person, to explain his side of things, and Bernie Sanders is not having it. Sanders' campaign spokesman Michael Briggs said the campaign will make a $2,700, the exact amount, donation to the Whitman Walker Health Clinic in Washington, D.C. We are not keeping the money from this poster boy for drug company greed.
Damn.
Yeah, so that's awesome. It's also awesome, by the way, the $2,700 could actually buy like 4 of the pills that he's producing. So that's cool.
How crazy is that? I love this. I love everything about this. And the fact that Shkreli donated to a politician who has policies that go against everything that Shkreli is pushing for, so it shows you just how easily politicians are bought, right? It doesn't matter if you're from a drug company, it doesn't matter if you're from a massive corporation, it doesn't matter if the person you're donating to is a Democrat or a Republican. Usually that politician can be bought off at a very, very cheap price. Yeah. And in this case, Bernie Sanders is showing just how principled he is and how he's not willing to be influenced by these campaign donations, and I love it. I mean, just when you think you couldn't love him enough, he does this, and it's great.
Yeah.
Very true. And a sidebar to that, who in the hell is running Martin's PR campaign? Buddy, hire somebody. You have all of the money in the world. Your image is in the toilet. You could have the best PR people in the world revamping you, or at the very least change your name so that it's harder to find you. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Didn't you know Bernie would do this? I mean, I don't know who's running your PR, but hire someone.
Yeah.
That's just,
yeah, and
he makes it too easy.
This all came out while he was live tweeting the debate. If you are like the target of a nationwide campaign of righteous indignation over rising drug prices, don't live tweet events anymore for a couple months. Let people ignore you. Or, for instance, one change that he could make in the PR is he's decided they announced that they would lower the price of the drug, and then since then, nothing. We have no indication that they've actually lowered the price of the drug. Here's what you do, you fool. You lower the price of the drug, and then 3 months later, you raise it back up when people aren't paying attention anymore. He didn't even do that.
He's affecting people who primarily have HIV because this drug, the parasite, it's very common in patients with HIV. He needs to do some kind of campaign where he directly helps a mass amount of people. Redeem yourself, buddy. I really want to give you good coverage. I hate being your enemy. You make it too easy. I just, oh my goodness.
Well, he's not liking the criticism either. He called the campaign's shot cheap and said he wanted to help the campaign understand how drug companies set prices. He went on to say, I think it's cheap to use one person's action as a platform without kind of talking to that person. He'll take my money, but he won't engage with me for 5 minutes to understand this issue better. Technically, he redirected your money. He didn't take it. I'd ask him, if he got to talk with him, what role does innovation play in healthcare? Is he willing to sort of accept, stop using the sort of accept that there's a trade-off, that to take risks for innovation, companies have to invest lots of money, and they need some kind of return for that? And what does he think that should look like? Right now, the rule of law in the United States is that drug companies can price their products wherever they see fit, not wherever he sees fit. If the rule changes by congressional vote, then I'll adapt to the rules. And he's not 100% wrong. It does cost a lot of money to develop new drugs. And usually the way it works is you spend years or a decade to do all of the research on drugs to get it through the FDA and all of that. And then the drug costs a lot as a result of that. But the problem is that in this case, he didn't develop that drug. His company bought the rights to sell that drug. And it was $13.50. And they decided to jack it up to $750. You didn't develop the drug. I'm sure it cost a lot to get the rights for it.
You didn't build that.
You didn't build that. You didn't build that. And I understand that developing a better treatment for toxoplasmosis, because this is currently the only treatment that's available, is probably going to cost a lot of money. But there is a limit to how much you can expect people who not only are immunocompromised as a result of something like HIV, but also have a secondary infection like toxoplasmosis. Making all of your money off their backs, that's not something that I want to see.
Yeah, and by the way, we don't need a new drug for toxoplasmosis, okay?
Well, I'll take it. I'll take it if there's another one.
Sure, I'll take it if there's another one. But there are a number of people, a number of experts in the healthcare industry that said, no, the drug that we have right now is highly effective. It's been around, it's been working. We don't need a new drug.
Yeah.
He just used that as an excuse for why he raised a pill from $13.50 per tablet to $750 per tablet. Yeah. So I'm not buying his excuse. This is purely for profit. He's not trying to develop new drugs. He's not trying to save the world. He's not concerned about anyone's health. Yeah. This is all about money.
Well, I looked into it, and the drug, before he took over, it did have one fatal flaw. It only cost $13.50.
No, you know that.
That's a problem.
By the way, the drug actually cost $1 a pill originally, so it was already marked up to $13.50. Yeah. So it's disgusting. The whole story is disgusting, and it makes me so sad to know that there are people out there who are losing their lives because of this greed.
Yeah.